defending champion Rob Milkins among those going through. And now it's time for Mark Williams to return to the table, chasing a hat-trick of Welsh Open titles this year. Standing in his way, Sanderson Lamb, who's beaten Neil Robertson this season and is looking to preserve his professional status come the end of this campaign. He's sitting provisionally 62nd on the end of season list, so a little precarious, but he has managed to win quite a few first-round matches this season, which helps enormously because, of course, if you don't win a match, you don't get any prize money at all. Clearly, he's got a big task on his hands this afternoon, Neil.
He has. He's a slightly improved player, though, as you say, that ranking of 62 provisionally. Points are mostly this season, so if he could stay on, then he'd have fewer points to drop. So if he can stay on, maybe he could engineer a career a bit higher in the rankings. It's always tough for the players that played their qualifying match, or their first round match, I should say, pre-Llandudno or whichever Home Nations event, because you're playing a top player who's had a match this week. Sanderson Lamb going on cold.
He beat Baipat Siripapon in qualifying, which of course took place in Barnsley last month. Williams was in action as recently as yesterday, as Neil has indicated, coming through against John Astley. Not at his best, but one with something to spare in the end, 4-2. Just did enough, and that's all that's required in the early rounds of these Home Nations events. The winner of this to play Anthony McGill, who was one of our winners this morning against
Mac Williams, 1.
Long Zhuang, 4 frames to 1. Barry Hawkins came through a tight one against Xiao Guodong, 4-3. And a terrific win once again for 17-year-old Welsh amateur Liam Davis. A whitewash victory over Alex Ursenbacher, who, lest we forget, has beaten Ronnie O'Sullivan on 3 occasions. Didn't claim a frame today, though. Davis made a century in that 4-0 victory. The other matches this afternoon, Ding Junhui on table 2 against Robbie Williams. Gary Wilson, the reigning and now 2-time Scottish Open champion in the Home Nations. He's playing Julian Boyko, and Adam Duffy is playing Jamie Clark. All of that is on Discovery, plus another terrific crowd in for this second day. 4 tables in use.
Yes, of course, Robbie Williams is the holder of the high break at this stage, 146, which people will think, hang on a minute, that didn't happen this week, but wasn't witnessed by any of this crowd. But of course, given that the first round starts, as Philip said, in Barnsley, the rest is concluded here. It all has to count out of fairness. So he's, well, 146 is probably going to win it unless we see a maximum. Of course, it's the only way. Might be equal, I suppose. And Williams kind of said, didn't he, that he wasn't as sharp as all that. He's been away on a golfing trip. And I wouldn't let that completely put me off him doing well this week, though, because the first time he won the British Open, of the 2 recently he's won, he looked out of practice going into the matches and got better as the week went on.
1.
So I wouldn't completely rule him out, despite not putting the hard yards in.
Lamb enjoyed his best ever ranking event run this season at the Scottish Open, where he made the quarterfinals. He beat Anthony McGill on his way, lost to Noppon Sankam in the last 8. Mentioned that he beat Neil Robertson, that was at the English Open. Plays at the Northern Snooker Centre, practices with the likes of Ollie Lyons and David Grace. Nicely played. Got the red out in the open play, but he's got to be careful here. He doesn't get covered up by the bunch if he plays on the red to the left corner. Can't afford to go too far from this. All judgment of pace. It looks absolutely fine. Now this red's out of the way. The other one at the bottom of the bunch
12
moves in play.
13. 20. 21.
Good effort. He's not bad here. You can see he had a whole wall of reds to try and get through, and he used as much topspin as he possibly could. I mean, clearly this is missable, but at least he's not buried in the bunch, as can happen on that shot. Very, very close to the red with his cue. This is excellent stuff. Really good start from Sanderson Lamb, this. Just a few shots he's played have been with some confidence attached.
28.
He rejoined the tour at the beginning of last season by beating Stephen Hallworth at the Q School. He also defeated Kurt Mafflin in that tournament.
29.
Well, goodness, that's the easiest shot of the lot that he's missed there. Put a slightly short one in on the shot, but this, there's no reason why he'd miss this at the highest level. He'd be very annoyed.
One
of our features that you can watch regularly on Discovery Plus, Mark Williams was asked by Rachel about moments in matches where you sense the need to strike when you focus on what's got to be done, and Williams made the point that frames where your opponent really should have won and has missed are the ones that feel like they count double because of the pain that can be inflicted if you punish them for that mistake, but that hasn't gone as Williams hoped.
No, the cue ball's heading down the table here. Terrific shot. He was actually thinner than it first appeared. I know he almost overcut it, but the cue ball went off the left and the right cushion out into open play. Very good recovery.
So Williams, having navigated that very missable red, will be acutely aware of the significance of this visit now. Didn't look as though that red was going to make it at this stage.
I think it was all about the pace, wasn't it? Couldn't have played it any slower, and if it is ever going to fall in off the jaw, that'll be the time at that speed. Playing into an area where we've got a choice of reds. A nice shot.
10. $11.
Playing the British Open at the start of the season, played superbly, beat Mark Selby in the final to become the second oldest ranking event winner after the great Ray Reardon, in whom the trophy for this Welsh Open is named in honour of the six-time champion of the world, who apparently recently made a century break, now into his 90s. Extraordinary.
$19.
Yeah, a very rich history of the game in Wales, especially South Wales. My good friend Terry Griffiths, of course, one of the legendary figures in the game. He played a big part in a lot of players' careers as well upon his retirement.
And yet this guy is the only home favourite to have won this tournament, which dates back, as mentioned, to 1992. Albeit that
24.
Williams' most recent win was 25 years ago. A classic final against Stephen Hendry. She won in a decider.
$25.
Played that really nicely. Little delicate screw shot. Didn't lose any spin that he put on the ball. Really nicely played. Didn't look much, but it was ever such a good shot. I think with Mark Williams, he doesn't want to hit the balls very hard. If he can avoid it,
32.
obviously he had to use pace there. And he almost gives the pocket every chance of accepting the ball, playing shots at the minimum of pace. That's what he's always done. Not happy with that, though. I'm sure we can get through to that top red of the two close together. Well, he doesn't seem entirely sure. No problem.
33.
It's looking rather alarming, isn't it, for Sanderson Lamb, who missed pretty easy black when he was going nicely. They've only played twice before. Williams has won them both. Most recently, the European Masters in August of 2022, 5 frames to 2.
Yeah, and I just feel that Sanderson Lamb would look on this as a possible chance to beat him for the first
39.
time. If he plays well, not if he doesn't miss blacks off the spot like he did, of course. Probably a slightly better player than he was on those two previous defeats.
40. $47.
The two remaining reds and colours to go with, and it will be 1-0 Williams.
48.
Yes, he's a bit in and out yesterday, wasn't he, Williams? More out than in, I would say, but there's no way that you could judge him on that performance for more than just that one match. I think the practice might have been done before he went off on a short
55.
vacation, play golf and all the things he likes doing. The stage of his life where he should be able to enjoy whatever he wants. A lifetime in this game.
56.
And he's got an absolute wealth of knowledge. And 28 in front, he'll be fully aware that that's where he's at. Snooker required, if that chance ever comes to Sanderson Lamb.
Well, that certainly killed the frame off, and it's certainly a
63.
hurtful one too for Sanderson Lamb to lose. He was in, he was going nicely. It's the black to the left corner. Mark Williams
65.
sensed the opportunity to inflict some pain, and he's done so. This is the black in question.
Yeah, I mean, players miss shots for a number of reasons, but really that one is just a rank poor shot, and he'll be aware of that. Doesn't need me to tell him. It's not a mistake of any
68.
kind other than a total misjudgment. Wasn't anything else on his mind, but it's on his mind now, I can assure you, sitting there.
$72.
One thing about snooker is it's very difficult to leave previous shots behind when you're sitting watching your opponent. It's the hardest part
77.
about this game, because you have a lot of thinking time, and he's had exactly that in this frame.
But how good has
83.
Williams been in punishing He's been very dialed in to this visit. And he's cleared the table.
90 on the frame. Mark Williams.
90 from Mark Williams after Sanderson Lamb missed the routine black and has been punished to the full. Williams leads 1-0. Mark
Frame
Williams
two.
dishing out some
Mark Williams to
punishment
break.
to Sanderson Lamb in the opening frame. Sanderson was in, missed a pretty straightforward black, and that was his last shot of the frame. Williams with a clinical clearance of 90. So an early setback for the underdog to absorb, with Williams breaking off in frame 2. The winner to play, Anthony McGill. Winner earlier today over Long Zhuang by 4 frames to 1. This is a second round match, of course. So a place in the round of 32 up for grabs today. Later it'll be Neil Robertson back in action. The equation is simple for Robertson when we look ahead to next week in the Players' Championship in Telford. He's got to win this event to be in it. It's that simple. He's got all of those points coming off for winning both that and the Tour Championship 2 seasons ago. He's up against Stuart Carrington. But he has been queuing a good deal better in the last couple of tournaments, Robertson, that's clear. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in our second match on table 1 this afternoon. And then this evening, John Higgins, a record 5 times winner of this event against Tian Peng Fei.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no doubt that Neil Robertson is playing better, but you know, the kind of points he's been getting in the last couple of events are not really making a great deal of difference. Even in Germany, you know, he got beaten before he had a chance to really capitalise on anything there. So he's got a lot of work to do. Picked up 7,500 points in Germany, Robertson. That's not going to help him. He's so far behind all of the other contemporaries of his, it's unbelievable for him. But like everyone else, you know, I mean, he's sure to come back at some point, Robertson. He's too good a player. He's had a rocky period, though, there's no question. Unlucky, he played it well, and of course when you do miss it so close, you can leave it over the pocket. He's got away with it. He certainly looks better today in that one frame. He was very sharp, that lovely break of 90. Hardly anything even resembled a ball that might stay out.
Our other table 1 match this evening pits Mark Allen, the player of last season, who's won the Champion of Champions and the shootout this season, of course, up against last season's World Amateur Champion, Ma Hai Long. So that'll be an interesting one. Jack Lozowski's in action on table 2 tonight against Liam Pullen, young professional from Yorkshire. Oh, it's a terrific pot from Williams. Brilliant.
1.
It really was, Philip. Yeah, it sort of glided into the pocket, didn't it? And he put stun on it. He threw the cue ball wide to go through that gap. Again, at that speed, he did very well for the side still to be on the ball between cue ball and object ball. I think he sometimes struggles with power shots
3.
these days because the tip he's using is like a rock. You know, he can't get a lot of give or any real spin. And that's why he didn't get on that red very well, because
Mark
he just
Williams,
couldn't get
3.
that cue ball to zip back from the shot before.
Gary Wilson's got the first frame against Ulian Boyko. Table 3.
A bit of a nervous look across to see if anything goes to the left corner there. Seemingly, it's okay. Williams hasn't really got a shot of his own. Well, there's not a lot happening here in the last couple of shots. Re-rack, of course, always springs to mind.
Foul and a miss.
Didn't reach.
Mark Williams 4. From here.
Referee Louise Kratz officiated in this game, and I see she had a little glance over at both players as if it might end up being a re-rack. If it's a touching ball, Williams could play away. Whether he's got any interest in that, that would keep the frame going. But if he didn't play away and just went to the side of the bunch, then I think we're heading for a bit of a stalemate. Yep, and they've decided to rack them up, probably for the best. You know, you don't really need a long sort of stranglehold, deadlock sort of into the early part of a match, and that was what seemed to be what was about to happen.
Talking of long, an extraordinary match last night between Mark Selby and Yuan Sijun, as we were discussing at the top of the programme. The last couple of frames lasted 1 hour and 45 minutes combined. The match nearly 3.5 hours in total. Mark Selby eventually winning 4-2 after Yuan Sijun contrived to give away 30 points, 6 consecutive fouls on the final blue.
Yeah, of course, that happened between them when they played it in the recent World Grand Prix. It was a very late finish that night, 12:30. Anyhow, that was last night or this
Mark
morning
Williams
even.
to break.
So take 2 in frame number 2 after the re-rack. Mark Williams fresh from that punishing 90 clearance in the first frame with Sanderson Lamb in, but missing a relatively easy black. Williams not thrilled to have brought a red up the table. It's quite a thin cut, this, though. Not easy.
One.
Cued it pretty well. Tight to the baulk rail, didn't help, but no problem. So an early opportunity for Sanderson Lamb to try and erase the memory of the first frame when he was in, looking good, and gave the chance back to Williams, who duly took it.
Four.
Break of 120 from the Scottish Open champion Gary Wilson in the opening frame against Ulian Boyko.
Yeah, I mean, Boyko was, of course, he played over in Albania, was involved as recently as Sunday. Lost to the eventual winner, Chan Ka-wei, who from Hong Kong. But, well, his played is okay. He needs a cue ball to do something. 2 reds have gone in.
13.
Just wondering how many people have made the journey directly from Gollum in Albania to Llandudno, North Wales. I don't suppose it's a route that many people have ever taken before.
13.
Two sort of unrelated parts of the world. Goodness, this shot, this is horrible. He's probably going to have to play it. This is a very difficult black. Ah, that's a fantastic shot. That really is brilliant. He decided to play it. Didn't get the best nudge on a
20.
red, but he deserved something. That was a brilliant shot. Can't tell you how difficult these would be.
Knowing that if he missed, he was giving Williams another chance. Terrific.
$21.
Just on that Ulian Boyko business, playing in Gollum in Albania
28.
to Llandudno. I wonder how he actually did get from A to B. There must be a story to tell on that. To be here in North Wales this morning, not a great deal of time to make that journey from Sunday being in Albania. Anyhow, hope he's had a chance to recover.
29.
Just got to put out of his mind that black he missed earlier. Because other than that, he's done nothing much wrong. One serious error has cost him a frame.
36. $37.
Interesting player, Sanderson Lamb. His technique is solid, but he doesn't have a discernible pause anywhere in the cue action. Some players, they just either stop at the front or they bring the cue back and pause there. He ends up just playing every shot without any pause at all. The last bit, certainly no pause. Think of the player, Peter Ebdon, the former world champion, was like that. Never stopped at the back at all, went straight
44.
back and threw the ball.
$45.
This has been good so far. The next shot requires a little bit of care and attention.
51.
Surely, does he need the rest? Goodness. It's quite a long way back, the cue ball. Ah, terrific shot.
52.
It's been a great break. That black that he knocked in from the side rail.
Which was about 20 times harder than the one he missed in the first frame, which proved so expensive. So a really impressive response from Sanderson Lamb, showing his mettle here.
57.
And of course, it was Mark Williams who broke off and left that tricky-looking cut into the left centre, which he negotiated nicely.
58.
Just doing the maths.
Yeah, the maths are that he needs another red on after this black goes in. That's another very fine shot. Not much angle to play with, and he did
65.
well to get the reds open there.
$66.
You could see Mark Williams muttering under his breath when he left that red off his break. And turns out that his concerns were justified. What a response this has been. Only 59 left now.
This is a really excellent performance. It's only a frame, but the manner in which he's taken the
73.
frame, Williams can't even look, but I'm sure deep down he realises it's been a mighty break so far.
74. $81.
And he really deserves
82.
a century here, Sanderson Lamb. It's been an excellent break under any circumstances, but given the way in which he lost the first frame, all the more impressive the way he's responded to that. And the black in
89.
particular, when he was tight to the side rail, carried a lot of jeopardy. Very missable. He potted it right in the middle of the pocket, and he's not looked back. Oh, he's missed that one, which is a shame, because
Sanderson
a
has
century
89
would have been
on the frame.
very justified, but he'll make do with 89. It's more than enough to level up this match. So game on here, one frame apiece.
Frame
Terrific
3.
start to
Sanderson Lamb to break.
this afternoon's entertainment here in Llandudno, the second day of the Bet Victor Welsh Open, the final leg of the 8th season of the home nations. But of course this tournament dates back to 1992, the third oldest on the circuit after the World and UK Championships. Mark Williams has won it twice and may well have imagined he'd inflicted some psychological damage in winning the first frame after Sanderson Lamb missed a routine black. And he cleared up with 90, but Lamb potted that much more difficult black early in the second frame on his way to responding with 89. So both players queuing well, as those stats confirm.
Yeah, a few people have actually messaged me and said that they noticed that when Mark Williams potted that black to make 90, he had his eyes closed on the black. Which you think, well, why would anyone do that? But of course, with Williams, he used to do it. The year he won the world title for the third time, he did that on some shots. It's like a test of some kind. I wouldn't think anyone should be trying it at home if you're a young player. Playing a shot with your eyes closed. I mean, I can't imagine there's any future in that. But Williams does it occasionally.
And it was remarkable how often he got them as well during that run, as you mentioned. And some of them were difficult pots.
If he's going for this, he's just able to head back safe because of the red that's on the right of picture. That's another extremely good shot. And he's leaving the red, absolutely. Very good. It's not an easy angle to judge when you're so close up. You've got all the long tackle out. Well, he's showing us the full repertoire of shots here. Does the red by the
5.
black go? Because that will be crucial. If it does, he deserves it. Don't think it will on that. It's quite cruel luck because he couldn't have played it any better. This red is tight, isn't it? You playing the other red? Well, it didn't go. Well, I don't think that
Sanderson
went.
lamp
And
5.
he clearly did, but he hit the red on the way through. Goodness me. Perhaps half a pocket is all it went. It's a shame,
1.
because he played a good shot on brown.
Robbie Williams,
4.
who, as Neil mentioned, owns the top break of this tournament, made in qualifying a 146. He's taken the opening frame against Ding on table 2 with a break of 54.
5.
Julian Boyko has levelled with Gary Wilson at 1 each. Break of 94 from Boyko in response to the 120 from Wilson in the first frame. And Adam Duffy leads
12.
Jamie Clark, another home favourite, by a frame to nil. All of those matches
13.
on Discovery Plus.
Well, I don't know how costly that will be because Sanderson Lamb has played
20.
very well, but the black in the first frame that he missed and that red, which was borderline as to whether it went. Other than that, he's played terrific, but he could be 2-1 down because this is a decent opportunity.
$21. $28.
Well, he thinks that the plant looks dead set, although he's not quite dead set. He'd have to hit the first red a little thinner than the potting angle if the other red wasn't there. I tell you, the players
29.
these days are very good at those plants. There's always a bit of a cliche as when I was coming through that all of the Canadian players, of which there were many, they're always brilliant at knocking in plants and combinations, and the rest of us sort of learning how to do it. But of course, now all the players are very good at those shots.
$37.
That one wiped its feet, but it's dropped. Sanderson Lamb, who went for what looked like incredibly tight red into this left corner, collided with the other one. I'm wondering if he's going to get back to the table.
44.
Williams has got a bit of insurance with that awkward red on the right side. Blue also at the
45.
moment out of commission.
$52. 53. $60. 61.
So this black and further red. And he'll get his lead back. Very enjoyable 3 frames. To play to a high level, these two. Few mistakes.
68.
And the ones that have been made have been key shots, it seems.
This frame is only 8 minutes old.
69.
Sanderson Lamb won the second in under 10 minutes, so terrific entertainment. Both players queuing nicely.
76.
Sanderson once again reflecting on what might have been. He obviously felt the red did go, but there was absolutely zero margin for error,
77.
given how tight it was into that pocket.
I think that's exactly right. It was, it may have just crept into the side of the pocket, but you can't really make those kind of measurements, especially when you're not straight behind the ball. It's almost like he didn't want to be on nothing. He was in denial, really, that there was nothing
84.
on.
$85.
You get the impression in the last few seasons that Williams is rather more hungry for century breaks than he was when he was in his absolute pomp, when he didn't really care that much as long as he won the frame. His tally now well into the 600s.
91.
This would be a 621st and his 32nd of the season, which would match his tally for the whole of last season. So he's been prolific.
92.
Yeah, I mean, whether he makes one here or not, I think you're absolutely right. I would say that 150 to 175 frames where he could have made a century, he didn't seem that bothered going back. It's almost like he got to 70 or 80 and thought, right, let's start the next frame. So the number would be higher had that period of time. He'd have been
98.
trying for the centuries. I mean, look how hard he's
99.
trying here. You know, knocking everything in.
Beautifully executed double. What a break, what a match. Both players producing the goods. And this
103.
capacity crowd here in Llandudno being royally entertained.
Try and take the blue out here off the cushion.
105.
To the slight risk of not being on the green perfectly.
$108. 112. 107.
How about that one?
You're seeing them really well today. All these awkward angles.
A rare moment of pace from Williams, who just loves stroking the balls around.
Mark Williams, 117. Sanderson Lamb,
That cue ball
6.
was bound
Graham Mark
for the
Williams.
pocket, but what an immaculate century that was from Mark Williams. Pure class from the 3 times world champion as he retakes the lead at 2-1. Mark Williams was probably no
3-4.
more than functional yesterday
Mark
in
Williams to
beating
break.
John Astley. He did enough to win, and that was all that was required. Today, though, his level has been significantly higher. He's been cueing quite beautifully, not least that century just now to retake the lead. Sanderson Lamb also playing very well, but he's been punished for a couple of errors into that left corner, the black in the first frame, and then taking on that incredibly tight red early in the second. And both times Williams has stepped in with something big. 90 in the first, 117 just now in between the 89 from Sanderson. So 1-2. That one a lot thicker than intended. But no damage done.
One.
Well, I mean, that is very handy, let's just say. Oh, what a very
Mark
strange
Williams,
shot.
1.
What on earth did he play there? I think what he did play was perhaps not to go for the pot. Maybe he wanted the cue ball where it is, and the yellow he tried to hit off the cushion into the bunch. It was the yellow hit the jaw. Looked a bit unusual.
Great start for Robbie Williams on table 2. I mentioned he won the first frame. He's now won the second against Ding Junhui, so 2 frames to the good for the underdog. Still 1 each between Gary Wilson and Ulian Boyko. Wilson well in front in frame 3. Adam Duffy now 2-0 up on Jamie Clark, who of course produced that miraculous comeback against Kyron Wilson this season at the UK Championship from 5-1 down to win 6-5, but he's 2-0 adrift against Duffy. All of that on Discovery Plus.
Just wonder if Williams left a plant there, which he wouldn't have even considered. Again, it's not online. It's got to be made.
One. Seven. 8.
Well, I think he must go into them here. Black is the wrong angle completely. I think he's got to go for this one 100%. Knock the reds into all places. Hopefully none of them go into the pocket. Bit of a shame that the red has covered the black
13.
spot, which is occupied by the pink.
Fourteen. Sanderson Lamb, 14.
Yeah, he didn't get all that close to one for once there. Good chance.
One.
Been a lot of good snooker from Lamb this afternoon, but the errors he has made so far to this point have been punished to the full by Williams. Remains to be seen if something similar is going to happen here after he overcut the green from distance. Williams' pot success, a very healthy 94%.
Clever shot to bring that red away from the pink on the black
8.
spot, because that was really getting in the way. So really very well played.
9.
I think with Williams, I mentioned this, the tip on his cue. Every shot he plays, the noise it makes, sort of big clunking sound all around the new Cymru. Doesn't sound very healthy, but he seems to like the tip being like a rock.
Ding Junhui has just pulled a frame back, meanwhile, against Robbie Williams, who now leads 2-1 on table 2. This Welsh Open was, of course, Williams' first ever ranking title success back in 1996 when he beat John
14.
Parrott 9-3, regained the title 3 years later, now has 25 ranking titles in all, 6 on the all-time list. He was 5th before Judd Trump's
15.
machine-like winning this season. Of course, Trump has won 4 during this campaign already, not here this week, but Williams looking good at the moment to potentially move 3-1 clear. And as I say that, he overcuts a pretty
Williams,
routine
15.
yellow.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? How does he miss that with all the other balls he's knocked in? It was routine, you're absolutely right. For Williams. He looked a little bit surprised, a few mutterings as well.
1. Eight. 9. $15. $16.
So, where's his next red going to come from? Have to go into the 4 reds here, I think. There's the top one going anywhere. No, that's all right. It's not the perfect split, but he's on a couple of reds choice between them.
22. $23.
Only just made it. Only just went in the middle pocket, that one. See it again, it thought about staying out.
$29. $30.
So that very surprising miss from Williams.
36.
There's every chance it'll prove costly. He's red, colour red here.
37.
Very entertaining match. A couple of errors, but some good play in between.
Williams' turn to pay the price for a surprising miss on the yellow just now when he was looking good again.
$44. $45.
Well, you couldn't choose a winner of these two. I mean, obviously Williams' experience may well come into effect, but you know, Sanderson Lamb has really matched him in these 4 frames.
$47.
Williams already needs 3 snookers.
Sanderson Lamb, 47.
He is coming back. Well, there's a red on the table. There's always the possibility of a free ball. The colours are invitingly placed to get snookers. But if Lamb can knock this red in, then that's all academic.
Yeah, tall order. I suppose you've always got that chance with the red on the table, as we know. Get the free ball, etc. Happens infrequently, but it does happen enough times to make a player want to carry on. Williams, there have been spells where he would have conceded a frame like this. As if to say, well, let's just get on with the next one. Not today.
Frame conceded.
And there's the nod of
Frame
the head
Sanderson
from
Lamb.
Mark Williams, who concedes, having left the final red on. So Williams missed a yellow, surprisingly, and Sanderson Lamb has punished the 2 times champion to level this match at 2 frames all. All to play for. 2 frames apiece. Both players have looked very good this afternoon, but have also been guilty of the odd error that has been punished to the full. And you can see Williams still seething, I think, about that miss yellow, because he was going nicely, eyeing the possibility of a 3-1 lead, which would have put him firmly in charge. But the yellow eluded him, and Sanderson Lamb stepped in with 47, and that was enough to leave Williams leading 3 snookers, which he tried to get, but in vain. So it's now a best of 3 for a place in the last 32 in a meeting with Anthony McGill. Certainly the audience enjoying what they're seeing so far, though. The snooker has been of a very high standard.
Yeah, it was a great success when played here last year, because he's always been in South Wales, isn't it? Anywhere time outside of the pandemic. But he was here last year and did know, and while it inconvenienced a few of the guys from South Wales, it just generally, there was good crowds all the way through. It was well appreciated. And Rob Milkins eventually lifted that title. Williams, as we know, has not won it for a long time. And it's been 4 good frames, just with an odd miss, which have been really significant ones from both of these 2 guys, and that's why we're where we are.
And the frames are rattling by, just 13 minutes and 20 seconds average for the 4 that we've seen so far. We've had breaks of 90, 89, 117, and that 47 just now from Lamb to level once again.
Frame 5. Sanderson Lamb to break.
Just their 3rd meeting. Sanderson Lamb breaking off in frame 5, having lost the previous 2. But as Neil mentioned, probably a tougher proposition these days. Having got back on the tour, he's had some decent results this season. Made the quarterfinals for the first time in a ranking event at the Scottish Open. He's beaten Neil Robertson. And he's more than competing this afternoon so far against one of the greats.
Once again,
One.
it's a very good pot and an early in here, but not necessarily that much on at this stage. Yeah, these two have been fluent, 21 and 19 seconds, very acceptable average shot times. I think when players get above 30, and these two are not likely to ever go down that road, and that's when you're a little slow. I've seen players over 40 seconds before, but since the average shot times were published, they seem to have got the hurry up. They've been shamed,
5.
haven't they, a little bit, some of them. But these two are fluent players.
Well, that one's got away with the rest.
Sun doesn't lamp 5.
So this time Mark Williams not punished, having taken on the long red and left it.
One.
Yeah, lovely shot. Not much to applause for it. A little smattering of it, but it was a lovely shot. Bringing a red out into open play. Black goes to the right corner as well, so he's happy with the outcome
6.
of the shot he played.
$13. $14.
So if you could just get that cue ball right into that area to the left of the red, directly above the black, just in that little area where he could get the reds opened up. That's exactly how he tried it. That's amazing, isn't it? He just stuck to that red. Strange
21.
reaction there. You see the cue ball and the red just going alongside each other all the way down to the side cushion. If he's going for this, it's very difficult. Real test of cueing. Hit it pretty well, but not well enough. Be unlucky, I think, from the split
Williams,
there.
21.
Williams.
One.
Wowee.
Sanderson lamp
Well, he
1.
missed a black in the opening frame that proved very expensive. He's missed another one here by a wide margin, and that's why it's careered into the reds. That's what he thought of it.
Yeah, I think he put in a short one on that. Didn't quite finish the backswing and then rushed the cue through, which sometimes it can happen under a little bit of extra pressure. He probably knows exactly what went wrong there, the mechanics of it. But he's not left the easiest first red. He's going into all the other balls in the middle of the table and potting it.
One.
Not bad at all.
Everything Mark Williams does on a snooker table always feels controlled. There's never any rush of blood about the way in which he goes about his snooker. Just has this tendency to stroke the balls in, only uses power when it's absolutely necessary.
Nine.
Sending the cue all round 2 cushions there. Looked a pretty
16.
safe bet to be on something. Played it with a little trace of
17.
right-hand side with the rest. It's okay. Good shot, that last one. Seems not happy about something. I can't think what could be wrong. That last shot.
23.
He's on the road to the middle. Maybe he jarred his hand or something.
$24. 24. 29.
Confirmation that Gary Wilson now leads Ulian Boyko by 3 frames to 1 on table 3.
$30.
He's going to need a couple more reds to be sure of a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, a little too close to comfort for those 2 reds. He may still be on the bottom one, but he wanted to be a little further to the left. So there's something about the last few shots, a bit uncomfortable. He keeps sort of wringing his left arm there, as you can see him still doing it, as if he's in something's inconveniencing him in some way. I don't know what, I'm sure.
Mark Allen, who's in action this evening against Ma Hai Long, apparently contemplated withdrawing from this tournament because he's been nursing a sore shoulder. But he's here, competing. That's our second match of the evening, following John Higgins and Tian Peng Fei from 7 o'clock local time.
Yeah, I mean, his win yesterday against Chow Yu Peng was bordering on miraculous. How he won 3-1 down, miles behind in that frame, cleared 3-all, completely second favourite in that frame as well, and somehow won it.
$38.
Silas and Lamb counting the cost of the miss black early in this frame.
Nice shot, played into an area.
43.
Still not feeling top of the world, is he? This red goes in, might make him feel better, but there's something that happened where, I don't know if it's a bit of the tennis elbow that O'Sullivan definitely struggles with on occasions.
This is frame ball.
$44.
Yeah, and whether he's inconvenienced or not, he's still potting the balls.
47.
Yeah, still wringing his wrist there. So clearly in some discomfort, but Sanderson Lamb, who's being discomforted by this
48.
break. Miss Black proving once again costly in the extreme.
$55.
And like O'Sullivan, even though he's playing at a very nice pace, Williams doesn't look remotely rushed. That red is academic.
Williams, 55 on the front.
Sanderson Lamb concedes, so the Miss Black once again very significant for Sanderson as Mark Williams makes a break of 55 to lead 3-2. It's been a terrific contest.
From 6,
Both
Mark
players
Williams to
have
break.
hit the heights at times. They've both been punished for errors, and it was Sanderson Lamb's Miss Black in the previous frame that proved crucial. Mark Williams stepping in with another half century to go with breaks of 90 and 117 to put him 1 up with 2 to play. Anthony McGill awaiting the winner in the round of 32. Still to come this afternoon, of course, Neil Robertson back in action against Stuart Carrington. Robertson, who, remember, has to win this tournament if he's to get into the Players' Championship for the top 16 on the one-year list in Telford next week. And also, of course, has his eyes on trying to avoid having to qualify for the Crucible, which would have been unthinkable a couple of seasons ago when he was winning 3 big titles. So that's coming up at the conclusion of this one. And then this evening, John Higgins against Tian Pengfei and Mark Allen against Ma Hai Long.
Not clean, but clean enough, that pot. Nicely done. Nice pot. This has given him a good foothold at the early stage of this frame to press on.
Nine. $16. $17.
So now it comes down to the angle on the next black and whether he goes into the reds
24.
or not, which I think he would, given the correct angle. He'd only take the loose red if there was nothing else.
25.
And that looks a little bit straight to me. So he might have to play on the loose red now.
32.
Well, the
33.
next shot is obviously a key one. There's always the chance, the way this pack is shaped, coming in from the cushion into them, you could catch one side of the bunch, end up towards the bulk end with the cue ball if you're not careful. Well, he has ended up there because he hasn't hit one at all.
40.
Kind of meant hitting the bunch and deflecting off them rather than what happened. So the break will end promising for a while, though it was.
Mark Williams, 40. Touching ball.
Referee Louise Kratz declaring touching ball, so Sanderson Lamb can just play away from the Reds, having already been deemed to have hit one.
Yes, he had no real choice but to go into the side of the bunch there. I mean, would have liked to have got him behind the brown, is what he aimed for. Clipping the green on the way through. There's one last kick maybe from Sanderson Lamb here, if he could just knock this red in, and he's playing well enough to still be in this match. Now that's a bit unlucky.
One.
Maybe he'll have a very thin shot on the black, but it's not nice, even if he has got it. Pushing the black up the table like that could have been a lot better. Very difficult, that.
Sanderson Lamb, 1.
And of course the worst thing about it is you're never really sure where the cue ball's going to finish. It hit a bolt colour. Potting angle not simple to locate. So it wasn't the sort of chance he was hoping for in this frame that he has to win. Williams winding himself up to play this shot. This is a big one. Potentially a match winner. Except he's got buried in the bunch there, so he might want to put something safe here. 40 in front. Got the blue on the cushion or something else near a cushion. Got to be in his interest. Yellow on the left cushion, perhaps. That's what he tried.
Mark Williams, 1.
Without success. That's a good shot, this. Covered a number of reds, not all of them. Just know that here and now, Sanders and Lamb cannot afford any further mistakes, because with Williams 40 in front, if he's left in again, it's probably end of match. Ooh, I was going to say very good. It looked in. It did look in. Very close.
An important battle underway on the last few colours on table 2. Ding Junhui looking to level up with Robbie Williams at 2 each. William Boyko's pulled the frame back against Gary Wilson. Break of 67 to make it 3-2.
That is very unpleasant for Mark Williams. It was a good safety shot from Sanderson Lamb. He's put him in quite a bit of trouble here. Might have to play out of a snooker and roll up to something if that option is available to him.
And Ding has just pinched that 4th frame against Robbie Williams on the final black, so that's a big frame for Ding to win. 2 apiece when it might have been 3-1. Coverage continues on Discovery Plus.
Following him is Sanderson Lamb 4. Sanderson.
Real contact was made there. It's one of those where you sometimes would prefer to go in off there than cue will stay out and leave reds on.
1.
Now, I think that cue ball's just crept far enough for the black to be potable. So, the chance has arrived. Bit of a snag that the black ball's going up onto the brown spot, away from all the
8.
action with the reds.
Nine.
So this next shot's quite big. This wouldn't be a simple pot, I think. The angle is coming into the pink from. It's a fairly acute angle. Kind of shot which, if he doesn't play it at his best, he could easily miss. Well done.
15. $16. 22. 23. 29. 30.
So, back in the frame, those two reds are going to be an issue, though. Clearly, they're not potable. The top one from the left side into the right corner. So, by no means is this frame secured yet by Sanderson Lamb. He's just got back into things from a 40-point
36.
deficit.
It's now the longest frame of a match which has been sprightly in its pacing. This frame is just over 17 minutes old.
37.
Yeah, half-ball clip on that left-hand red would have been very handy. Now, break over.
43.
Really threatened to move the red in the end. How did he hide the cue ball behind a colour here? He's not done so.
Sanderson Lamb,
So
43.
it's anybody's this frame. And, well, there hasn't really been a close frame in this match. But this looks like it might well be the first. I'll say a close frame, a frame decided on the colours.
Yes, we've had decisive breaks in all of them to this point. 90, 117 and 55 from Williams in frames 1, 3 and 5. 89 and a frame winning 47 from Sanderson Lamb in between.
Well, that's opened everything up, hasn't it? Now that that red's in play, I mean, there's not a safe ball, so now we're down to one mistake, looking like it would be costly. Goodness me, he hit that so well and he got no reward. It might have even cost him the frame, but he got ever so close to the pop there. And look what a difficult shot it is. I thought this was going to go in. We can safely say these pockets are not as big as some we've seen, because that looked like it could go in.
1.
Could well have been a match winner for Williams had it disappeared. As it is, a great chance for Sanderson Lamb to take this terrific tussle all the way.
Six. Seven.
So just yellow and green required to take us to a deciding frame.
14.
Yeah, of course, Williams did have a 40-point lead. He got in first with 5 reds and blacks in this frame. So it seemed at that point as if he was on his
16.
way to winning. Going to almost certainly do it all again now, because it's virtually unmissable from here.
Yeah, Williams failed to get the cannon on the reds when he was on that break.
19.
Cue ball ran up to the balk end of the table and then was in an awkward spot. Didn't get the safety right and allowed Lamb back into the frame. And just missing
23.
what would have been a brilliant long red just now has given the underdog this chance to extend this match to a decider.
28. $34.
We lost Sean Murphy, last year's Welsh Open finalist, on the first day. And another big
41
name
under
is under threat
Sanderson
here on the
Lamb.
second. Sanderson Lamb, call as you like, clears up after Williams just missed the long red, and we're going all the way here. It's 3 apiece. One frame then to decide who will play Anthony McGill in round 3 here on the second day of the Welsh Open. 2 times champion Mark Williams reeled in again, having on 2 previous occasions led by the odd frame. Was threatening to close it out when he was on a break of 40, failed to get the cannon into the cluster of reds, and then took on that very tough long red, which, as the guys have just been discussing in the studio, couldn't have been any closer to dropping. And those are the wafer thin margins, potentially between victory and defeat. Who knows? Sanderson Lamb took his chance to force this final frame. And it has been a great match. Both players have cued beautifully at times. Errors have almost invariably been punished with something big. And so it feels, Neil, as though the final frame is justified on the balance of play.
Yeah, I think so. Sanderson Lamb has very much played a part in this match. He looked good from the start. And he did well to pick up frame 6. So when you get down to this stage, you know, obviously the experience of that man, Mark Williams, can often count for something. He looks a little uncomfortable, though, didn't he, with his back arm ringing it as if he hurt himself at some point. But I'm not sure that will play a part in this frame, but
The
it's all to
deciding
play
frame.
for.
Sanderson Lamb to break.
Here we go then, the 7th and final frame. Sanderson Lamb breaking off, looking for his first win in this his 3rd attempt against Mark Williams. And it would be a very significant win for Lamb in more ways than one, to beat one of the greats of the game, one of the best victories of his career without a doubt, but also, of course, with one eye on his tour survival come the end of the season. Currently 62nd place on the provisional end of season list. Only the top 64 survive. That is beautiful cueing again from Williams, though. Not a great cue ball, however.
No, if he plays the black, I don't know if he can get into the side of the bunch, or will he just miss them? playing it plain ball. He won't want to be digging down on this very much. He's going to miss them. It just means he's taken 8 points. Pity, really. It was a very good red.
8. Mark Williams, 8.
Always that moment where you miss the ball and you don't know where the ball you miss is going to go. It went across towards the bunch of reds. It's the biggest worry.
And it was looking as though that red was on for Williams, but the other one, it would appear, has come to Lamb's rescue.
Well, Williams may not have had a pot to go at, but he certainly has been left in an awkward spot there. Sanderson Lam just looking away at something with a head shake. I'm not sure what it was. But you can see reds, but you can't see an edge of a single red here, I don't think. Which means his next shot, not an easy one. Played it well enough there. Two cushion glance. Really good pot.
1.
Very, very good. And he also got just the correct side of the blue. Cue ball just made it.
Six. Seven.
Well, can he get to enough of this? Played it all right in the end. Little nudge on the red.
15.
So full concentration here for Mark Williams. Two reds, are they set to the left corner there? That would be very handy. Well, they look mighty close to being in line. And even if they're not, if they're touching, you can easily just swing it into a plant.
$20. $21. $28.
It looks pretty good, doesn't it? Let's be honest. And it's
29.
completely opened up that end of the table.
Mark Williams created this match-winning chance with a terrific long red, raking it
36.
into the left corner. And he's been pretty deadly when he's had the opportunity to close out a frame so far today.
A bit in two minds here as to what to play. The top red is clearly not going to hit anything. The middle red of the three, no, he's going to hit the red above it. So that was
37.
in the end, the perfect choice.
$42.
Gary Wilson has just closed out a 4-2 victory over Ulian Boyko, winning what proved to be the final frame on the black from behind. So the Scottish Open champion is through. Mark Williams
43.
at the moment looking set to join him. Turns 49 in March, Williams. He's talked about one of his few remaining ambitions left in this sport, being among the top 16 when he's 50. Well on course to achieve that. He's number 4 on the one-year list. Of course, that was greatly helped by winning the British Open at the start of the campaign. He's raised his level appreciably today from his first round victory over John Astley. He's had to, because Sanderson Lamb has played extremely well himself this afternoon, but are his efforts to be in vain? It's looking that way.
49. $50.
He was probably a millimetre away from sinking that long-range red at the end of the
57.
previous frame, which allowed Lamb in to force this decider, but the red that he got in for this break was beautifully cued as well.
58.
Yes, he's managed to just move up a notch, hasn't he, in this last frame, as all great players, well, in any sport, seem to do. Mark Williams has just moved up to a higher level. His concentration's been very good. It's been an enjoyable match. He's not there yet. He's just shaking his head. Difference is 66, so, I mean, he only really wants this black, but he knows that a red to follow it up. would be very handy. We saw Gary Wilson to win that match 4-2. Need a couple of snookers on the last red in the frame which won in the match, so it can happen.
I'm sure he'd love to close out a fine afternoon's work with the second century. The applause for frame ball. Lamb needs
65.
a couple of snookers.
Yeah, very good. This has been, to me, a marked improvement on what we saw from yesterday when he won. He wasn't at his best against John Astley, but he got the win. But he's definitely improved for that match. Because Sanderson Lamb has given him a lot to think about today. He's played a good match of his own.
Yes, and if he can replicate the sort of standard he's produced today, ultimately in vain against Williams, then he'll have every chance of remaining on the tour come the end of the season. But it's the 2 times champ who's moving through and doing it in style. He really has cued exceptionally well.
79. 80. 87. 88. 95. 96.
So this black for his 33rd season century, one more than in the whole of last season. Oh no!
Mark Williams.
Bit of an
96.
anticlimax. The century eludes Mark Williams, but the victory does not. A terrific match, one of the best we've seen so far here at the Welsh Open this year, and the 2 times champion turned on the style this afternoon. Sanderson Lamb played exceptionally well in defeat, but it's Williams who dominates the decider with that break of 96 to win by 4 frames to 3.